Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on, to better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
I'm Assistant Chief Wyatt Martin of the Houston Police Department. This critical incident briefing is intended to provide you with information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred in Houston on June 26, 2022. You're about to see video footage that is related to this incident. HPD conducts thorough investigations into officer-involved shootings. These typically require investigators to interview multiple witnesses, view numerous hours of video footage, and analyze a significant amount of forensic evidence. It is important to note that we are in the very early stages of the investigation, and we continue to review additional evidence as it is collected and analyzed. The videos you're about to see can be graphic and may be difficult to watch. These videos may also contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. At approximately 7:25 p.m., Phillip D. Rogers entered a department store on the North Freeway wielding a wooden table leg. He approached a customer at the entrance and struck the customer in the head before walking out of the store. A Houston police officer working an extra job at the store was notified of the incident by store employees. The officer located Mr. Rogers outside the store, attempted to stop him, and gave him commands to drop the wooden table leg. Mr. Rogers did not comply with the voice commands and began to approach the officer wielding the table leg. The officer deployed his taser, striking Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers moved toward the entrance of another business. A struggle ensued when the officer tried to restrain him. Mr. Rogers took the taser from the officer. The suspect struck the officer with his fist and slammed his head against a metal window frame. The officer discharged his duty weapon one time at Mr. Rogers, striking him. Mr. Rogers fled the location. He was located and taken into custody in front of a nearby business by responding HPD officers. Mr. Rogers was transported to the hospital in stable condition. The officer was transported to the hospital and treated for lacerations to his head and face and for a possible concussion.
So they said that the officer was working an extra job. So that to me indicates that this officer is working in a private security type of function. Now, it varies all across the U.S. on how police officers work security. In some places, they are basically forbidden from wearing their police uniform or even identifying themselves as police with that agency. And they're expected to just act just like any other private security officer. Other places, they may say, yeah, you can identify yourself as police, but you can't be wearing the uniform or anything like that. Some places say that they can wear the duty belt and use the gun and stuff, but they just can't wear the badge and the patches from that agency. And then other agencies say they don't give a shit. You can wear everything. You can wear the uniform shirt with the badge and the thing. It's totally cool if you're off duty doing that, wearing our stuff. Other places, they say if you're going to be wearing the badge and the uniform and the patches, then technically you need to be on duty with the agency, and those agencies will have those entities, normally like large shopping malls and stuff like that, basically give a check to the city government for security, and then the city government will have whoever go work an extra duty, an overtime gig at like a mall or something like that. Or sometimes these nonprofit entities can hire police or hire the city, in a sense, to do traffic control for like 10K runs or 5K runs. So in some places where you see the police sitting at roadblocks and blocking traffic for these runs or for like Christmas parades and stuff like that, it's those nonprofit entities that are really paying for them to be there. But the way those cities have it set up, they just can't hire those people directly. They have to pay the city themselves, and then those officers are working for the city. They get their paycheck from the city, but the entity's paying for them. Now, how this particular setup is, I have no idea. I don't know if this dude is just wearing, I don't know what he's wearing. I haven't seen this yet. I don't know if he is wearing their uniform and they're just like, cool, you can wear that stuff, we don't care, blah, blah, blah. And he's being paid directly by them, but wearing city equipment and insignia. Or if he's having to wear private stuff and it's not even city stuff he's got on. So no idea how he's set up or anything like that. But like I just explained about, police work and security, that's how it is across the nation. It just varies from place to place. And even within one state. In one part of the state is this way, another part of the state is that way, and then this state they do it this way. So it's a fucking roll of the dice wherever you go. So the fact that he has a taser tells me that most likely that the taser he's using is the department's taser. Yes, you can buy tasers as a citizen, and I can't even see what the back of his vest says. But you can buy tasers as a citizen. So he is wearing, that says Houston Police on the back. So, but you don't see any insignias on his arm or anything like that. So he might just be wearing the vest and everything, and because he don't have to wear an actual, hot-ass uniform, he's wearing something more comfortable underneath it. Looks like some type of moisture-wicking kind of shirt, like an exercising shirt or whatever. But back to what I was talking about with the tasers. So, you can buy tasers. Anyone can buy a taser. They're expensive, especially those Taser 7s. The Taser 7s is the newest generation of tasers. They're pretty expensive, and mostly it's going to be agencies who are affording that. Now, there may be some private security entities out there that have the Taser 7, the law enforcement model, not the civilian model, but it's going to be far and few between. Other tasers, they've gotten to the point where the price range on them, because they're so old and used, I guess you could say, lots of security companies out there have security officers using tasers. So taser isn't just something that's unique to police, but depending on the model, it could be more likely that it's a police issued thing, like a Taser 7. The rest of the stuff, the duty belt, security, anyone can buy this stuff. All you got to do is go to galls.com or Strikers or G2 Distributors? It's like G2 Distributors or something like that. Law Pro, any number of uniform company that sells uniforms and belts and holsters and pouches and all that. Like, anybody can go buy that stuff. So lots of security will have some of the equipment that looks like the same type of equipment that you would see police using. It doesn't mean that that's police only kind of stuff, which that in and of itself kind of gets on my nerves when, like, you'll see someone get pulled over or stopped for doing something and they get accused of impersonating police, and then they'll release, we found all this police gear, and they'll show pictures of like holsters and belts and vests and stuff. It's like, that stuff is not just exclusive to police only. Private security utilizes that stuff as well. Private citizens utilize that stuff, and they don't even work security or work police. But anyway, a lot of that stuff can be expensive, depending on the brands that you get. You can buy some cheap ass stuff and quote unquote be equipped, but it's cheap ass stuff and it's not very good. To have quality gear, Safariland holster, that's damn near $200 for a holster. And then all the other stuff that goes on the belt. So a belt can be probably around $500 to $600 after you get everything on it, and the belt itself. And then the vest, the vest could be probably around $500 to $1,000. The gun that goes in the holster, like, all this stuff will add up. Which is why you see security companies, the big ones like the Securitas and the G4S and Allied and Signal and all those. They buy cheap ass shit, and that's why their security looks like cheap ass motherfuckers, because they're just wearing cheap ass gear, and the salaries that they're paying these people is not very high, so they can't really afford to go on their own and buy stuff. Law enforcement officers, of course, they make a little bit more than private security guards do, but in a lot of places that salary is not that high, and they themselves may have some difficulty buying some of that stuff for off duty. So you'll actually see lots of police officers who do work security on the side, and their agencies say they can't use the stuff. Those officers, they won't go out and buy a copy or something similar to what their setup on duty is. They'll go out and buy cheap shit because that's the only fucking thing they can afford. And it's really sad to see someone who knows the importance of quality equipment but will still be cheap and go buy cheap ass shit. Like getting one of those stupid ass like combo Phobos handcuff and magazine holder things, or a magazine and a flashlight holder thing. Like, it's stupid shit. Like, no fucking professional wears that shit. It's fucking garbage. Anyway, got off into a long ass rant. This guy, he's got a vest says Houston Police, and he looks like he's wearing uniform stuff from the police department. Now, whether or not he's quote unquote on duty, like he's getting a paycheck right now from the city of Houston, I don't know. I have no idea if he is. He could be. This entity could be hiring the city to provide security for them, or the city's hiring him individually. He's getting a check from this private business, but he gets the benefit of using all of his police stuff because the agency and the city don't care. I don't know. Back this. All right. So we see that the struggle is going on, and this guy starts to try to take the taser away, and he does a takedown on him. But before this all happens, you can see that little club in his hand. So I'm guessing at this point, he may have already hit him. Now, what he was trying to do with the taser, I don't know. I don't know if he fired it or not. It looks like there could be wires coming out. I'm not 100% sure. He could have done a close proximity fire. Now, if he did fire that close range with the taser, the only thing it's going to be doing to this guy is causing pain. There is not enough spread for the probes to achieve NMI. For you to get NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation, the probes have to be spread apart. One probe has to be at the top, and a couple feet below needs to be the other probe. When you fire it so close together, those probes are just inches apart. At that point, it's the same as taking the cartridge out of the taser gun and then just ramming the taser gun into the person and making it cycle. That does not cause NMI. That just causes pain. So if he did fire the taser, then he fired it super close, which that in itself isn't bad. Sometimes you can purposely fire close and then do a follow-up with the gun, drive it to a lower point, and complete the circuit. But if he did fire, then as soon as he fired, that guy started to try and take control over that unit, thus preventing the officer from doing a follow-up drive stun. A fight over the taser ensues. And he does a takedown on the guy. The guy has got a hold of the taser at this point. You see it in his left hand. So that taser, because it's a taser 7, it has a 2-shot capability. So assuming that this officer has only fired once, this taser is still capable of firing again. So at this point, with this guy having a taser, this officer is completely 100% justified in using deadly physical force against this guy. Now, a lot of people have a hard time understanding that concept. Well, if it's a less lethal weapon, how could they fear for their life over it? Is what the anti-fucking police crowd says. Well, if he uses the taser against the officer and is able to successfully achieve neuromuscular incapacitation, then the officer cannot control his limbs. The officer cannot stop that guy then from taking his gun out of his holster and shooting him in the face. He cannot stop that guy from stomping his fucking face in. That is why deadly force is justified when an assailant takes a taser from you. Because they could use it against you, and although it is less than lethal, it can render you incapacitated where you cannot physically protect yourself. And you don't know what they're going to do at that point. You don't know if they're going to shoot you with the taser, drop it, and take off running, or if they're going to stomp your fucking face in, take your gun out of your holster, shoot you with it, pull their knife out, slit your throat. You have no idea. You have to assume the worst. So that's why deadly physical force is always justified when a suspect takes a taser. So, he is authorized at this point, or justified at this point, to use deadly force. And we see old dude walking out. You know this dude could see through the window what was going on. But he decides to keep on walking. I can tell just by his walk and his dress and his demeanor that he's anti-police anyway. So he's not going to be helping. He probably says, fuck the police. Alright, so I can see on his back here that what looks like a taser probe. So he may have fired at this guy from the back at some point. Guy still got the taser. They disengage, and then the officer is able to draw his gun. Now, I can't tell for sure if the guy still has the taser or not, which you can see that he does. He has it right here. It's in his hand. They separate. Looks like both his hands are open at this point. So he's dropped it. Now, he has turned to the officer. The officer, during this whole struggle, has known, since they went to the ground, has known that this guy has had a hold of the taser. They very quickly separate, and I'm assuming that as they're separating, this officer is drawing his gun, probably drawing it right there, because he gets it out very quickly. Actually, it almost looks like this guy is running the taser to the officer's head. So officer draws very quickly for deadly physical force. And the dude runs inside the building. Looks like he retrieves his taser in his hat.
335, 7 my shop got wrecked out. I'm gonna need VC to get the intersection of 45 and cross timbers.
Alright, I don't know what the hell's going on with this shit.
335, 7 my shop got wrecked out. I'm gonna need VC to get the intersection of 45 and cross timbers. Get on the ground! Get on the ground! I got him. You got hands. 357, we're getting custody right now.
Getting in the custody.
Hey, breathe good, bro. Pull him over. Check his abdomen. I ain't got no. Are you hit? Yeah. Where are you hit? My rear. 3B57, get HFT in the parking lot of Chick-fil-A. Okay. Got a gunshot wound to the chest.
I don't know what he means by my shop got wrecked out. I don't know if he's referring to his car or what.
Near Chick-fil-A! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Put your hands out! Now! Go ahead.
Getting in the custody.
Yeah, so that's a probe from that Taser 7. So, before we got to see them in view on the camera itself, it looks like he probably fired a cartridge into this guy. So, when I was talking about the whole Taser thing in the beginning, it looked like there were some wires coming out the front of the gun. So those wires could have been from the first time that he fired that cartridge. When he went in close to the chest, I don't know if he fired a second time or not. It didn't look like there was any probes into his chest area. So it still could have been a Taser unit that still had a live cartridge in it. The Taser 7, the probe itself contains the wire. So used to be the cartridges for Taser, the wire was spooled inside the cartridge itself, and as the nitrogen capsule blew the darts out, the dart would fly out of the cartridge, dragging the wire with it, kind of like a wire guided missile in a sense. The new Taser 7, the cartridges are way different than the cartridges of the other Tasers. And the probe itself contains all the wire. So the wire is anchored into the cartridge, and when the nitrogen capsule blows that big-ass thing out, as the probe is flying through the air, the wire is being pulled out of the probe itself. So that design minimizes all this extra wire that ends up coming out of the Taser. So if you've ever seen, like a regular Taser getting fired, there's all this fucking wire hanging out everywhere. It's all like crunchy looking, like it's been compact inside a little cartridge for so long that the wire has taken the zigzag shape or whatever. But you just see all this stuff just spewed out, laying around. This design minimizes that, so you don't have a bunch of extra wire laying around, and that wire can be easily broken. So that's a nice design. Moving on.
Hey, breathe good. Pull him over. Check his abdomen. I ain't got no. Are you hit? Yeah. Where are you hit?
My rear.
I ain't got none. Yeah, HFG. I ain't got none. Okay.
And I don't know if I've been surprised or not.
I got hit.
Is there any injury to the accident?
Yeah, it hurts a little bit. No. It's like a cut. Just a cut. Nope.
I can't breathe, sir.
Yeah, getting up is not going to help you.
Sit there the same minute. I can't breathe, man. I can't breathe.
Okay, just sit there and shut up for a minute.
I am. I'm not going anywhere. Can I stand up?
No, you need to sit. I have medical.
He is literally just sitting there. Sitting there. I can't breathe. Motherfucker, you're talking. That shit kills me when people are like, they can't breathe, they can't breathe. The motherfucker is talking. Talking requires breathing. It requires air movement. You have to have air going through your vocal cords to create sound and going over your tongue. If there is no air, then you can't talk. That's why people who are legitimately choking on food or candy, that's why they can't say anything. Because their airway is blocked. There is no fucking air movement. Therefore, they can't speak any words. But all these goddamn Facebook doctors out there, like the whole shit with George Floyd, that motherfucker was talking up a storm. And everyone's saying, he's being choked. You can't breathe. He's choked. You can't breathe. He's breathing just fine. Talking all that shit he was talking. Same with this guy. He's breathing fine. He may have a sensation of difficulty breathing, but he's breathing. He is able to keep himself in an upright position. He is wanting to stand. People who can stand, people who can keep their balance, wave, make purposeful movement, they're not critical. In fact, when it comes to triaging people, those are indications, those are signs that that person doesn't need immediate help. People who are unconscious, laying still, not moving at all, those are the ones who are in bad shape. They're the ones who need help. And they're perfectly right. Him standing up isn't going to make a difference. The only reason this guy wants to stand up is because he wants to continue running. He wants to take off. No need to make it easy for him to try and fight some more. Keep his ass planted on the ground. If he feels like sitting isn't help, then he can lay on his back.
Yeah, 8880, we got GSW to the abdomen. I got quick clot in my right pocket. Can you get my right pocket? I have quick clot.
Alright, so he's got scissors here. Looks like he's got a tourniquet in this pouch-looking thing. So he's got medical stuff on him. That's great, because not a whole lot of people wear medical gear on them. And that's a problem. In my opinion, if you're going to be carrying the tools to induce trauma, then you should be carrying the tools to reduce trauma. If you carry a gun for a living, that means that you have the possibility of being involved in a gunfight or a knife fight, potentially, whatever, and you could be injured. So you need medical gear for, one, you, secondly, your friends, family, and or co-workers, and then thirdly, anyone else, so long as it's safe to do so. So I like that he's got medical gear on him. However, I do not like that he is doing this bare-handed. This guy is obviously transient. Look at his feet. Like, he's not wearing this shit because he's wanting to be a super criminal and not leave any shoe impressions anywhere. This dude, he's homeless. He's poor. He can't afford shoes. He's using rags as shoes. So he could also be a drug addict. And he could be in the needles. So he is at higher risk of having some type of communicable disease. Anytime there are criminals involved who do stupid shit like this, chances are going to be high that they have something. They're not making wise choices. Obviously, he's trying to attack an officer with a stick and take his taser away from him. Those are not wise choices. This is not the all of a sudden unwise choice that he has made in life. No, he has made a series of unwise choices in his life. He's probably been making unwise choices all of his life. So there's probably a really good chance that he has something. But it's not just the looks of people that you have to base this off of. You have to assume that everyone has something. Even the soccer mom looking person, you have to assume they have something. If it is not someone that you regularly share DNA with, then you need to wear protection. If it's not your wife, your husband, your kids who's bleeding, then you need to wear gloves to protect you and your family. You have to assume they've got the worst thing possible, and you do not want to take that home. BSI, body substance isolation, it's gloves. Should always, if you're working in this profession, whether you're security or police, you need to be wearing gloves. You need to have a pair of gloves on you. You need to have 2 pairs of gloves on you. And before you ever touch anyone who's bleeding, glove up. If that means that person has to sit there and continue to bleed while you take the time to get your gloves out and put them on, then so be it. They can wait. They made their choice. They're having to live with it. You got you and your family to worry about. What if you don't have a family yet? What if you're young and you are looking to start a family, and then you catch HIV at work? Do you think your partner is going to be very open to the idea of having unprotected sex with you in order to have a kid? That could be a relationship killer right there. That could end your family before you've ever started it. So always wear gloves.
You to the abdomen. I got quick clot in my right pocket. Can you get my right pocket? I have quick clot. Give me strip. Sounds like you just ag-assaulted someone's walnut on the head on you. Can't please get off my shoulders, I can't breathe. I'm not putting any pressure, I'm just keeping me from getting up. I'm not going to get up. Fuck! Can I stand up? No, stay on the ground.
That's the best place for you right now, man. Stay right there.
That motherfucker, huge. That's what she said. Yeah. You could beat a person to death with that. That's a club. Hell, that's damn near resembles what humans had before we was able to, refine things like this and turn them into sharp pointed things. This is caveman technology right here. You damn right this will kill. This is the most basic fucking weapon you could think of. As he was swinging this at the officer was able to use deadly physical force, would be justified to use deadly physical force. This is a deadly instrument right there. If you don't think something like that's dangerous, would you be willing to let me swing this at your head as hard as I can? No one, absolutely no one, would ever volunteer to get hit in the head with this. Why? Because they recognize the fact it will fucking kill you. But yet there's a bunch of dumb motherfuckers out there who would fucking whine and complain about an officer shooting someone holding this. Oh, why do you have to shoot him? All it was is a stick. All it was is a table leg. That is literally why I wish that some of these chief law enforcement officers, when people start complaining, which I don't know if people in this incident were complaining about this or not. There probably was a bunch of people complaining. But this is why I wish that chief law enforcement officers in this nation, when these things happen, would just publicly go on TV, hold up the piece of evidence, and say, look, you stupid motherfuckers need to shut the fuck up. And then offer to people, if you don't think this is such a big deal, who wants to get swung in the head with it? Or like the thing in Phoenix where the dude was throwing rocks. That chief of police there needed to fucking bring those rocks out to that public press release, if they even had one. Pick one up, handle it, throw it up in the air like a baseball bat, or like a baseball, and then offer to the public, who is willing to let me throw this at your fucking face? Raise a hand. Who wants me to throw this at your face? And then say, oh, no takers? Gee, I wonder why. Unless you're willing to volunteer for something like that, then you just need to shut the fuck up. So this is at the end of the video. Not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.